All right, you can go ahead and open up with your opening statement, and then we'll get to questions.
We've used this week to go back to the fundamentals. Besides having Monday and Tuesday off, on Wednesday and Thursday, when a lot of teams were playing, we tried to be competitive in drills, competitive in teaching, and tried to look ahead to realize like the next three games are all three different preps for three different styles of play. So what we tried to do is put a little bit of that in to the last 2 days of preparation. But today will be all Missouri. We've already seen the film work on them. We've lost the last two times at Missouri in overtime that we've been to Columbia. We seem to play better here, but this is why they call it home and road. And when I look at Missouri's last three games, is interrupted because they had two, but the last three games that they played, they lost at Arkansas by 3. They won at Ole Miss by 9, and they lost at home to LSU by 2. This is one of the younger ball clubs in the league. No senior starters. A freshman who's lightning quick at the point guard. 2 good sophomores and 2 good juniors. And most of their scoring has come from Frank, Blackwell, and Williams. Williams is their version of our India Jones. Blackwell is just your another typical player that will be a pro someday whenever she gets out, like her former teammate, Kinetic Cunningham, who's still playing in the WNBA. And Haley Frank is what amazes you. She's leading the SEC in field goal percentage at 68%, and she's not a true post player. That's mind-boggling. That's a kid that shoots the three, but works well within coach's offense there, and she's just a ball player. Would remind you of Destiny Pitts for us, that is just doing the little things that sometimes not has to have the ball in her hands to be effective. So we've got our work cut out, but we're rested. We're ready to go. Missouri didn't play on Thursday either, so they've had a week to prepare for us. And this is not what you call a trap game. This is just another typical SEC road game that we have to go up there and execute what we do best, realizing they'll play us a little man, a little zone, and they're a transition-orientated team, very similar to Arkansas. They want to push the ball, shoot threes and layups. So we've been working on that all week. We're healthy. We'll be taking 15 players up there, and hopefully our depth will be able to help us in that ball game. Questions?
All right, John Wilson, you want to start us off?
Coach, you kind of broke down Missouri a little bit, but what are maybe the 1 or 2 key things your team will have to do well in order to have success in Columbia?
If you're a transition team like Missouri, it's sort of like Arkansas. They've got no fear on misses. The thing is, they've got a little bit more balance inside than Arkansas has, where they get their paint points and they like to drive the ball, but they're giving up a lot of points as well, just like Arkansas is. I just think they're a complete team without any seniors. And what you have to do with a veteran team is you need to go in there and make sure, do not let them get off to a good start and start feeling the confidence. It'll be up to our defense first, our offense second. Limit their touches, keep Blackwell off the boards. And she's just an amazing athlete that is really matured, I think, between her freshman and sophomore year. But I want to limit Frank's touches. Okay. I just want anybody shooting 68%, averaging 13 or 14 a game. We've got to be able to see it. Now, Missouri has played less games than anybody in our conference due to COVID or other teams having COVID where they had to cancel. So they've only got 9 games under their belt so far. And they have a very strict protocol up there in Columbia, Missouri. And so their protocol has been tougher than a lot of other programs that have been able to play where they haven't been able to play in certain situations.
And up to this point of the season, Gary, are you happy with where your team is at this point of SEC play? And is it where you expected them to be?
Yes, I'm a confident person, but I'm a worrisome person too. I worry about so many things. And like I'm sitting here reading Cease's column this morning, which is very good. He breaks it down and everything on 5 games last year, 5 games this year. And it looks like, boy, we're a lot better team. But remember, there's one thing in there. The stats might be a little bit inflated because Morris hadn't played the last 4 games and Green didn't play for 2 games. And so hopefully we're going to be able to work them back into the rotation where we do not have to have as heavy of minutes for Wilson and Wells and Nixon. I mean, that's the key, because when you get into SEC play, the wear and tear on your body, it just wears you down with the practice, the preparation, the travel, the games itself. And believe it or not, we're going to school this week. And so we're having to do all of that combined right now, but I've got a happy team and I've got a team that shares. And you cannot ask for much more, but we're going to have so many close games the rest of the year. We've got to be able to execute down the stretch and make sure those free throws or that last second shot or that block out on a miss, those are very important to us as we go over situations now, more than the stuff that we put in to learn the offense. Now we're going over game time, score situations more.
Thanks, Coach.
Yes, sir, John.
Cease.
Yeah, Gary, it's that time of the year. I haven't asked you yet. What about the net rankings? How familiar have you made yourself with them? And we know last year the past year selection committees always really looked at RPI. Have you figured out, are they going to use net rankings as much as they used RPI, even more? And I just wondered your pulse on that.
I think they'll use it less because I think they're going to go by the eye test a lot. I think the Power 5 conferences that have played so many conference games are going to be helped versus the mid-level schools, or whatever word I'm trying to find, the Toledos and all those schools didn't get a chance to play a lot of those Power 5 conferences. So their stats might be down a little, or if they played the real good schedule, like Florida Gulf Coast or somebody, then that makes up for their conference schedule. I really believe it's the eye test this year, and there's not going to be near as many teams on the bubble to get 64 teams. I think they'll be looking at about 75 teams right now instead of about 95 teams right now. And of course, numbers can be there, but some of the numbers are wrong, like somewhere like Arkansas, who has played one of the best schedules in the country. They've lost a few of those games, but now their conference schedule will start going their way, where they're not playing the top half of the league anymore. And all of a sudden their net will go straight up as long as they're winning, except on Valentine's. And, but I really believe it's going to be more the eye test, not necessarily the polls. The committee's going to get together and just say, hey, this is a better basketball team. So if you're the Southland Conference winner, you better win that tournament, no matter what your record is, to be able to get into the NCAA. I'm just using the Southland as an example.
And what about, I see Arkansas picked up Connecticut since they're not going to play Vanderbilt. Have you thought about trying to get someone to take Vanderbilt's spot?
Connecticut is picking up. Arkansas is picking up Connecticut to bring back Christian Williams, the Little Rock kid, okay? Because their game with Little Rock got canceled. And Mike is saying, hey, I've already got 5 losses. A 6th loss or another crucial win is just going to help me in seeding and number. I know I'm going to the NCAA tournament. You've got 9 teams right now probably going to the NCAA tournament in the SEC, and Missouri trying to crack into that 10th spot. And I really believe they have a chance if they can get a couple of top 25 wins. And I'd say that would be Missouri with a young team. But yeah, we've looked at it. Do we need the rest? We sure do not need the RPI. Now here's the thing. If I play another low division team, that hurts my net. Actually playing Vanderbilt hurts my net according to where they are. So sometimes you're better off staying status quo than playing, say, a real good mid-level team, bring them in for a Sunday. That's not going to make our attendance go up to 5,000 to 10,000 because we can only hold so many. Do we need the rest then to get ready for the next week, where I believe that would be Arkansas and somewhere else? But also, if you pick up somebody, you'd like to find playing time for 15 kids, but then it hurts your net. So if you find one of those teams, say, for example, Stephen F. Austin, who's winning the Southland, that's a good, real good mid-major. But it might be like the Rice game where we win by 1. And all of a sudden you're wearing down your starters again. And now you got to get back ready to go play an SEC game. So it's damned if you do, damned if you don't. What's more important, getting playing time for those kids or letting your net go down because you're playing a lesser team, or playing a better team and playing 7, 8, 9 players? So I'm saying right now we will probably take the rest, but I've checked into that all week, and Arkansas is doing it now basically as a favor to be able to get Kristen Williams back in her home state.
Thanks, Gary.
And you don't say no to Gino sometimes. And Mike isn't afraid to play anybody.
All right, Mike.
Coach, how beneficial is not having a midweek game kind of halfway through the SEC slate to be able to rest and fix some things in practice?
It would be like, Mike, you having a weekend off, Super Bowl weekend. It'd be the same thing in your profession that all of a sudden, hey, there's nothing major. All the home teams are playing away. You've got a weekend off. And that's the same way. It's just wear and tear. And sometimes we all need a little bit of a days off. And I actually went to see the Liam Neeson movie Tuesday afternoon or something after I got all my work done up here, and The Marksman. So sometimes I've got to get away, turn it off, because all I'm doing is watching basketball on TV. Basketball, trying to learn. Sometimes I've got to get in and see a John Wayne movie, or I've got to see a Liam Neeson movie, eat my little box of popcorn, and I've got to get away. If not, all you do is worry, thinking, what haven't you done? Not what have you done, but what haven't you done to get prepared for the next game? So I sat with Roby at lunch yesterday. I'll tell him you need a weekend off.
I appreciate that, Coach. Thank you.
All right.
All right. Are there any other questions for Coach? I think we're good. Hey guys, by the way, on Monday, we're gonna have a press conference for the 10th year anniversary game on the 31st. I messaged a few of y'all about that, but just to put it on y'all's radar.
There
Thanks,
was some
Brandon.
good basketball last night on TV if some of you got a chance.